Welcome back, guys. So today I want to talk about a common problem when it comes to anxiety. It's catastrophizing, spiraling, thinking we are the tiniest statistic all the freaking time. I lived this way for years. In fact, I think I was living like this as a child. I just never was diagnosed, and I didn't have a ton of physical anxiety symptoms, but I think that this is where it all stemmed from, was my childhood and becoming a habitual negative thinker and spiraler, if that's not even a word, but catastrophizer. This started whenever I was really young, and it just blossomed after I had my first panic attack. And then it was just like everything horrible was going to happen to me, because what happens, guys, especially when we get panic attacks and our anxiety gets to an extreme level, we go into this heightened state of survival. And to an extreme, obviously, that's fight or flight with your panic attacks, where your body's trying to get you to fight or run away from something that's immediately endangering you. But we can kind of have this just kind of always hang around with us. Even if it's not a panic attack, it's just like we're always ready for something to pop off. And then it translates into the way that we think, right? And obviously then we feel a certain way because of it. But it's a heightened state of survival is why I think that we are catastrophizing. Your body's always trying to keep you safe. It's trying to survive. It's trying to, do the best thing for you. Even if that is thinking that you're the tiniest statistic, like it did for me all the time. Now, early on, a lot of this revolved strictly around my health, but it did start to branch out. Unfortunately, anxiety spreads if we're not doing anything about it. And in the beginning, when you don't have any acceptance and you don't know how anxiety works, I didn't understand how anxiety works. That's why I like making these videos for you guys, because some of you found me a week ago, some of you found me 6 months ago, and you have a chance to take advantage of the tips or the advice or the perspectives that I give in these videos, from finding out that you're not alone to how does anxiety cause these symptoms, to help you accept more, to make sure that you go get checked out faster than I did, to realize that you can have anxiety symptoms when you're not consciously anxious, and to understand the subconscious conscious relationship. Not only do I get to relate with you and make you feel less alone, I get to help you with things. And that's why I like making these videos, and that's why I started doing it. I was still at the tail end of my anxiety when I started making content about anxiety on this channel. So it's been a blessing to help you guys. But I didn't understand how any of that works, so it spread to other areas. So it started with my heart. The very first time I had a panic attack, my heart started to palpitate, and then, my chest started to hurt. So that set off my panic attack. And I remember jumping on Google because I was typing in a few of the initial symptoms that I had. And then I was looking at what are the chances? Because I was trying to figure out if I was going to go, have to call an ambulance or whatever, or if I was going to need to call my mom to come get me, which I ended up doing that. But I remember typing in my symptoms and risk factors and stuff like that. I can't remember the exact thing, but it was like a 0.0 something % chance for my age at the time, which was 21, of me having a heart attack. And I remember that's whenever I started to have this issue with catastrophizing severely anyways. And I was like, oh my God, how unlucky am I? You know what I mean? I'm that unlucky. I don't have any risk factors. I'm not obese. I don't have any type 2 diabetes. I don't even have heart disease that runs in my family. There's basically a 0% chance that I'm having a heart attack, but I freaking feel like I'm having one. And, it went on for a little bit. I waited. And then, I called my mom, because I saw it was like, you don't need to drive if you feel like you're having a heart attack. It's not safe. So it's like, call an ambulance or get somebody to help you. Well, my dad was sleeping at the time, and I was staying with him, and I really didn't want to cause a scene and make him upset. He got upset pretty easily at things. So imagine that, feeling like you're having a heart attack, but too, nervous to wake up your dad and disrupt his sleep because you called an ambulance to your house, right? So I got my mom to come pick me up, and I went with her to Athens. She was a nurse and everything, and she was telling me look, you weren't having a heart attack. It would have already happened by now. Do you feel worse now than what you felt hours ago? I was like, well, no. I was like, my chest still hurts. She's like, something would have happened. Something would have happened. And she checked my vitals. She's like, yeah, your vitals are high, but your age, it doesn't run in the family. She promised me, and that helped me a little bit, calm me down. She's like, I promise you, there's nothing happening with your heart. So sure, that helped me kind of get through the day, but you know, it came back the next day, and then it came back the next day. And now I'm thinking that I'm being misdiagnosed whenever I finally start to go to the doctor to get checked out. You know, I'm having somebody check my EKG and my blood work and all these fun things. And, you know, I'm having doctors borderline laugh at me, which whatever, but you know, they're like, are you serious? Like, you really think that you're having heart attacks and stuff like that? They're like, there's no way. There's no way, you know, you would have to be the most unlucky person in the world. Well, I thought I was. So it was like, even getting all these doctors' advice and opinions and testing and stuff like that, I still thought I was like that 0.001% chance that it was going to happen. You know, I thought that was me. I thought I was the tiniest statistic. Now just replace heart disease with pretty much anything else that you can think of. You know, I'm going to be the person, one of the most random people that's going to die from taking a multivitamin. You know, I'm going to be the person that dies on the toilet at the age of 21 because I'm straining and I'm going to have a heart attack and go out Elvis style. You know, I'm going to be a tiny statistic that dies in the shower at my age, having no risk factors because of the heat. My vitals are going to go up. You know, I'm going to die going up a flight of stairs or getting up off the couch too fast, or I'm going to pass away doing yard work. You know, sure, I wouldn't dare get on a plane during this whole time, but I know if I was on a plane, I'd be freaking out at the time. You know, there's the tiniest chance of, it's even smaller than me even having a heart attack at the age of 21, but I'd still think I'd be in the plane that was going to go down. So many of you deal with social anxiety. I went in and out of it. I wouldn't say I had true social anxiety. It was more so my other anxiety symptoms. I was just afraid of them getting bad and in front of people, kind of like an embarrassment thing. But I didn't have necessarily trouble talking to people. And before I never had any issues with that. So I don't think I suddenly, developed some severe social anxiety. It was just, you get the point. But some of you go into a room and you feel like everybody's looking at you and they're probably thinking more so of themselves instead of thinking about you. Most people worry about themselves and they're not thinking about you. But we think everybody's thinking about us. They're judging us. They're judging us about what we're wearing or judging what we say. So that's another example. I went through periods where I was afraid that I was going to develop an allergy out of nowhere at an age of 21 to 20, whatever, age I was at that time, whenever that's just probably not going to happen. Like, what if all of a sudden I'm allergic to nuts or shellfish or, all these different things. And then allergic reactions. Like, I always thought I was going to have an allergic reaction to an antibiotic or medicine or something like that. Just anything, guys. And then we start to plan our life around everything. And then we start to avoid all the things that we have tiny statistical chances of having something horrible happen. We start to, you'll avoid traveling, you'll avoid getting on a plane, you won't take a multivitamin or a supplement even though it's supposed to be good for you or to even help you with your anxiety. You're not taking a medication that you need to take that's good for a health condition or a sickness or illness that you have. You're avoiding crowds and places because you think everybody's thinking about you and judging you and making fun of you. You're always going to the hospital and getting checked out tons and tons of times because you think that they're misdiagnosing you. You just always think that you're going to be the tiniest statistic or be the most unlucky person in the world with everything. And I guess the best way to try to, it's hard to get out of it. Everything that I say is easier said than done, even on this channel. I think I do give great advice and stuff here, but it's still, you have to apply it at the end of the day. And if it's not natural to you and you've been naturally thinking negatively and catastrophizing for so long, well, then you better expect to consciously put effort in for months to rewire. That's what you're going to have to accept. I guess that would be the first step. This is going to take time. But what you need to do, first of all, is you're going to have to make a conscious effort to stop in these moments when you're catastrophizing and thinking that you're the smallest statistic and look back at all the things you thought were going to happen and none of them happened, for those of you that have health anxiety. But think about yesterday. Some of you thought you were dying yesterday and you didn't. You got evidence from this morning when you thought you were going to die and you didn't. And I'm talking about my health anxiety, panic disorder sufferers, heart anxiety sufferers. That last plane trip you got on, it didn't happen. What do we have a problem? Well, this time it could. This time it could, or this time it's going to be different. This time it is a heart attack. this time I take that medication, it's going to happen. We just throw away all the evidence. Don't mind all the times that the thousands of times I thought something bad was going to happen in a certain situation. It never happened. Okay. So you have to make strong conscious effort when you're catastrophizing or whenever symptoms are flaring up. You have to stop and you have to look at your past and let that, be a tool for you. Use that to help you hopefully calm down and to think more rationally. It can spark some rationalization, by looking at your history and your past, And I guess in a broad spectrum with all of this, we're letting go of control. We're letting go of the past, we're letting go of the future, and we're trying to let go in the present moment as well. Again, an easier said than done thing, but that's pretty much, if I had to give one answer to, like, the shortest answer to how do I overcome anxiety disorder? Let go of control. Let go of control. And the thing is that, we're trying to let go of control of worrying about being the 0.001% chance and all these things. It's not like we're trying, I'm asking you guys to let go of control, or we're being asked to let go of control of 50-50 chance. You know what I mean? We're trying to let go of control of worrying about being the most unluckiest person in the world. And you'd think it'd be easier for us, right? But it's not, because again, like what I was saying earlier in the video, like our survival instincts, and it's so high that it's trying to protect us, even if we are the tiniest, if there's the tiniest statistical chance that it could happen, it doesn't want it to happen. So it's trying to get you to avoid it at all costs, or keep you alert, or keep you in a panicky mood so you can fight or run. But letting go of control and looking at your past and realizing, and also just growing tired of this way of thinking, that was part of it too for me. And, a lot of people that recover, I'm sure they can relate with having this kind of come across their mind. Like, I'm just exhausted. And then again, you combine that with like, nothing ever happens. You know what I mean? Like, nothing ever happens. Anything I ever worry about, I just go around in circles. I'm not getting sleep. I'm having panic attacks. I'm going to the hospital all the time. I'm questioning everything. I'm constantly asking for reassurance. I'm constantly planning everything out months and months ahead, structuring my vacation around where's the nearest hospital, get the hotel closest to the hospital. I'm avoiding all the things that I used to enjoy. I'm questioning everything, a supplement, a food, anything. It's exhausting, and you get tired of being tired, and that can help you let go of control, and some of you are so close to that. Some of you may have just not thought about it like that, and for the longest, I wasn't thinking of it like that. I was just like, I don't care if I'm tired. I have to keep trying to survive. I have to keep trying to survive, because if I slow down, the tiger's going to get me. I am exhausted from running, but I'm too tired, Eventually you have to realize, well, I'm tired of running from this invisible tiger. You know what I mean? Let's see if it's a real tiger or not. I'll stop. But I hope this video helped, guys. If you watched it this far, please go down below and let's keep this thing going with I will let go of control. I think that's a good thing to comment in all caps down below in the comment section. I will let go of control. If you want more help with your anxiety recovery process, please go down below in the description and in the first pinned comment. I got a great course, ELITE Anxiety Bootcamp, that's going to take you step by step through everything that I did to get through panic disorder, health anxiety, generalized anxiety disorder, tons of downloadable materials and tools to help you along with close to 100 videos. So check that out. My coaching info is down there. Please like this if you got value. Subscribe if you are new. And until next time, guys, keep fighting. I'm going to try to upload again tomorrow. See you then.